So I've now seen episode 4 of Invincible season 2, and I finally get to talk about this. Omni-Man meets Invincible again. This video is obviously going to have a little bit less to talk about than a previous Invincible video, because that one had a lot of episodes I needed to look at, and this one only had the one. But it's a very, very important one, so I'm going to start off with this topic. Invincible and Omni-Man's relationship. I actually talked about this a lot within the first video, but this whole season has been built around like the consequences of what happened when Omni-Man revealed the truth. When Mark said no, all the death that happened because of that situation, all the catastrophes, buildings collapsing, Debbie's downward spiral, her mental state depleting, just all of this has happened because Omni-Man was like, yeah, okay, it's time to initiate the plan. But in that moment, in that very moment where he was about to finish off Mark, he stopped. He couldn't do it. He started getting these visions back of when he was a kid playing baseball and couldn't even do anything. And you kind of saw that glimmer in his eye back in the day during those flashbacks. You know, he started to see like the goodness in people, not all people, but mostly just Mark. You could tell he really cares for Mark, and I would personally say he probably cares for Debbie too, and that pet thing was probably just to rile up Mark, even though they'll probably never interact with each other again. Maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't read the comics. So you would think, now being here on this planet full of these alien bugs, no one's the Emperor, Omni-Man is their leader, what is Mark gonna do when he sees him face to face? Is he gonna fight him? I would assume he would fight him, right? Because throughout this entire season, he's been dealing with this like rage, this pent up frustration to want to do something, want to change how things happened. Like, he feels personally responsible for the deaths of all those people that happened on the train and just everything that happened in Chicago in general. So what is he going to do? He hugs him and then he says F you, and there's nothing Omni-Man can really do about that because you did do what you did. That was a sentence. He knows what he did. He knows the situation he put Mark into. He knows the situation he put the entire human race into. So there's nothing he could do with Mark saying F you and Mark refusing to hear him out and hear his plans of anything. But because Mark is a nice guy and he does still have this soft spot for Omni-Man because that is still his dad, and he won't admit it to him, but that was probably the reason he gave him a chance to listen to him, even though he'll say it was for this alien race that we just met. And this is when a semi-big reveal happens. I'm not sure if you want to call this a big reveal, but Omni-Man has remarried on this planet and he has had a kid with this woman. Mark has a little brother now. And I say semi-big reveal because as a YouTuber, guys, when you find things and want to talk about stuff, you gotta do a little bit of research. You gotta get good pictures for thumbnails and stuff sometimes, and doing so means you get spoiled for a little bit of things. You know what I'm saying? So I've heard rumblings about Mark having a little brother. One of the commenters in the Adam Eve video even told me something tragic happened to her. I'm not saying what because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'm like, dude, what the heck? And I deleted the comment. But it's hard not to get spoiled when you're trying to review something online. That kind of comes with the territory, so I don't really mind spoilers that much. You know, sometimes when you read a spoiler, it doesn't really connect to you unless you're watching it at that exact moment. That's not an invite to spoil, by the way. Please do not do that. Omni-Man has asked Mark there to help him fight off Viltrumites. Viltrumites are on their way because Omni-Man has fled his post, and when they find out he has had intercourse and a child with a species that isn't similar to Viltrumites in the slightest, they'll find it inferior. They'll kill it off along with the rest of the race. So he wanted to call Mark up, train him up a bit, and then they could take him on together, but they're already here. The Viltrumites are already here. I think we all know it was Thaddeus's fault. I think that was his name. Alan tried to stop him and everything, but I think that was Thaddeus's fault because the woman anyways is the same person that was there. And they fought and fought and fought and fought and fought and fought, and they lost. Actually, they won. Actually, they lost. Actually, they all died except for Mark and Omni-Man. The other ones could still be alive too. I have no idea. We'll talk about the fight momentarily, but for right now, I want to get to General Craig. I think that was his name. At the end of the episode, he gave Mark an ultimatum. You now have Nolan's mission. Nolan has been sentenced to death. He's going to be executed, and I'm gonna let you off with a warning. Kill a few people, make sure they fall subservient towards you, or we come there, notice you haven't done anything, and kill everybody. Kill millions, and there's nothing you can do about it because there's so many of us, and we're just kind of left there with Mark to soak in that information. What is Mark going to do? Is Mark going to do this? Obviously he's probably not. He's the good guy here, but he's going to be between a rock and a hard place in the situation 100%, and I feel like whatever decision he makes is going to be a terrible decision, because either he does put Earth under his command and the Viltrumites have now taken over the Earth, or he doesn't do that, and Viltrumites comes and beats everybody up, including him, and they are fewer people alive that are subservient to the Viltrumites at that point. So it'll be interesting to see how he can sort of maybe potentially get himself out of that situation. Maybe the United Planet Nation stuff can help him out. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Alan has to help somehow, right? We didn't get a whole Alan episode, or at least a whole Alan part of an episode, for him not to have some sort of importance later on when the Viltrumites try to come and attack Earth. I think Alan's gonna help out, and the rest of the heroes probably, somehow. I don't personally know how, because they've made every Viltrumite, including Invincible, so much more stronger than a normal human and normal human superhero. So I'm not sure how they're gonna do this, but I guess we'll see. So we're now at the second part of the video, and this part's gonna be a little bit different. I want to talk about social media for a second, and kind of a little bit of a backlash that Invincible had towards it during the time where episode 4 released. So for those of you who do not know, Invincible is a comic series created by Robert Kirkman, the guy who created The Walking Dead. And for those of you who've seen The Walking Dead or read The Walking Dead, you know The Walking Dead can be graphic. It can be very gory. And the same thing can be said for Invincible, especially the comics. So would you like to know that there was this one scene, this one screen grab that somebody took, because it was a perfect replicated drawing of a scene that happened in the comics when the Viltrumites were fighting Omni-Man and Invincible. And in this one comic panel, there's so much blood, so much gore around, it's almost hard to tell what's going on. And then you got the animated show's screen grab, where it's not as gory, it's more easier to tell what's going on, what's all about. And there was starting to be a lot of concern and backlash towards, oh no, this is so shit, they're censoring Invincible now? Why the hell are they censoring Invincible? Like, did we not watch Omni-Man slice this guy's stomach open earlier and did his guts spill out? Are we watching the same show right now, guys? But this is a conversation that happens a lot with comic adaptations, manga adaptations even, where there's always a lot of backlash for censoring things, whether it's the gore or whether it's, oh no, the sky's different. And I don't know, I just wanted to bring it up because it really feels like a tireless, pointless conversation to have. Invincible from the first episode has shown that it doesn't pull back from being gory, with the Omni-Man reveal and all the stuff. They even replayed some of that within this one, where Donald was looking at some of like the things that happened, and even at like the very beginning where the replay of the Omni-Man twist before we just see him here now. They don't hold back when necessary. I don't want it to be like The Boys. I love The Boys. It's such a good TV show, but The Boys can be very, you know, sometimes a little bit nonsensical goriness. You know, sometimes it can be a little bit too much gore. Sometimes, you know, people die that don't have to die. There's a lot of weird things that happen in The Boys, but it's a good show. Go watch it if you haven't. Another thing that Invincible did that it got backlash from social media was that it announced that it was going to take a hiatus after episode 4. And a lot of people kind of did not like that. You know, the first season came out 2 years ago and you guys still aren't finished with season 2. What's going on here? For one, animating stuff takes a lot of time. Writing takes a lot of time. It's a process you had to go through. I don't have to explain this to people. I'm pretty sure we all know that. People just want to consume the content all at the same time. They want to just experience it all. And while I do hate the backlash towards this part because it was very unwarranted, very unnecessary, I can understand it a little bit because I feel like they just worded it weirdly. They announced that it was going to take a hiatus, which normally means it's going to be on a temporary pause. You know, there's going to be no production done. It's going to be a very halty. They're going to halt everything until further notice. That's normally what hiatus means. I think what they should have said was episode 4 is a mid-season finale. We'll be back in January, because I think there were leakers around that found out that the rest of the episodes are coming out in January, so they're only taking a month off. Like let people have their Christmas. Like let them work until December or something after Christmas, and then we'll be able to eat up with Invincible season 2 in January. Wouldn't that be swell? Wouldn't that be great? I don't want to make this a whole pointless conversation about social media and how they can like take the smallest thing and over exaggerate it and overreact towards every little thing that's said on the internet, so I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to point out these few things about some backlash that happened towards Invincible that was overall very unnecessary to happen, which is very weird because I just uploaded the review I did for season 1 that I recorded a couple of years ago when that first released. I was mentioning that everything I've seen everywhere was overhyped and Invincible to the point where I didn't like season 1 that much as compared to everybody else. I was a little bit underwhelmed. And now we're at a point where a show that was universally loved when season 1 first came out is getting like weird backlashes because they're censoring gore and they're taking a hiatus. What's going on here, guys? Take a break. Take a break off of the internet for a little bit. Go enjoy yourself, and by the time you come back home and sit down and turn the TV on, the rest of the episodes will be out, ready for us, right there. But yeah, with that being said, what are your opinions on episode 4 of season 2 of Invincible? I'd really like to know. Leave them in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. I've been appreciating all this support and stuff. Invincible, another great series. It's making me want to talk about a lot more superhero stuff, so maybe, you'll probably see me explore some other superhero stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Maybe the 90s X-Men series, maybe the 90s Spider-Man series, maybe, I don't know, anything. I really want to look at Static Shock. We might end up talking about Static Shock here, guys. That's all I'm saying. I like superhero animation stuff so much more than I like the live action counterparts. I don't know. It's always fun. But yeah, with that being said, I'll see each and every one of you around next time. Okay. Goodbye.